So the last couple weeks we've learned about developing our own artwork, and last week in particular, we learned about how to use references properly. This time we're going to take the next step in developing our own artwork. That step is composition. So, what is composition? How does it work? So composition can be very complicated, and there's entire courses on it, and it never ends. But the lowdown is it's the arrangement of elements or objects on a page and the relationship between those objects sitting on the page. Allow me to elaborate more. So what we're looking at here is an example of me breaking down a piece into the rule of thirds. And what that is those are third lines going across the piece, and when you put your subject matter at those intersecting lines, it makes the piece of artwork visually pleasing. The rule of thirds is a very powerful tool to make successful artwork. Here's another piece. See where the main subject of the bird and a lot of the flowers are near intersecting lines? Or they're right in the middle of one of the third blocks? This creates a sense of balance and flow throughout the piece that keeps your eye engaged, and you want to keep looking at it. So here's another scene or setting. You can see that the main subject matter is sitting on one of the intersecting lines in our rule of thirds, and everything else surrounds that intersection. It keeps our eye engaged, and it makes us want to explore the piece more as we look back into the horizon and see the setting that this ship is sitting in. That's really what composition's all about. It's the layout of those elements. Where are you putting things that tell the story of your art? So here's a different piece of artwork by the artist Raphael. He provides balance in this piece of work by using triangular balance. And that's where you take an element of art and you lay it out in a triangle throughout the piece. And it seems to work. It works very well. So I think the real big question is, what really makes a bad composition? How do you know your art isn't successful or isn't working? And how do you know when you need to go back to the drawing board and fix it up so it is? So here's how you can tell your art has bad composition. Your eyes will leave the artwork or not be directed towards something that you, the artist, want the viewer to look at. Any viewer won't be sure on what the focal point of your artwork is. The subject of the art is unclear. The art's not easy to look at, and it's not pleasing to look at. Those things you need to ask yourself when you finish this week's assignment. So what is the assignment, you may ask? So you're going to take part 3 of your reference images from last week's assignment. You're going to redraw the image and color it using the composition principle that we learned here. So you're going to need to do a little bit of rearranging to make sure that it fits within this assignment's parameters. But there's more. Add a setting and a story to what you drew. I want to be able to look at the piece and see what you're trying to say. When you're finished, lay a piece of paper over top and draw the rule of thirds grid over top to see if you're successful. When you go to turn it in, you're going to show me 2 pictures. One with the art and one with the grid over top of the art. Remember, you need those 2 pictures to get 100% on this. So what did we learn? We learned that composition in art is just the elements of art laid out on the page correctly so it's pleasing to look at. And we learned how to arrange those elements, and we learned what a good and bad composition is. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to me. Message me either via YouTube or put a comment down below, and I'll be happy to answer them as best as I can. Have a wonderful day.
Me Lego.